Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Ryan, here with my co-host Dad, Paul. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Before we get into it, a little bit of admin. We've got a few things that we're going to talk about, so I'll put the timestamps below. So if you want to listen to that per se, then feel free to check the timestamps out, and you can just jump straight to that bit. But first and foremost, thanks very much for all the support that you've been showing me and Dad over the past few days. It's quite overwhelming, actually, the amount of views we've been getting.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really took off. It's took off in a good way, which is good. Yeah, I'm really pleased with that.
So, you know, we're grateful, guys, for you stopping here and spending your time tuning in. But first things first, there's a few things that we're going to get speaking about today. I think we're going to start on Tyson Fury and the WBC. Dad, do you want to give a little bit of background behind that? I think it's quite an interesting topic, actually, to talk about today, starting off.
Yeah. Well, so basically, the WBC is... they've given time to Fury to you know, they said, hey, just take your time, man. You know, I know Fury's this retirement things, but you know, we spoke about it and we constantly seem to be talking about it all the time.
Yeah.
But the WBC said, look, just take your time on it and then get back to us with what you're going to do. But that tells me really that they are pressing them a little. They're pressing them on this a little bit, and Fury saying he needs more time. Yeah,
he hasn't officially came out and went, look, I'm retired now.
No, he hasn't.
We've seen over the past couple of days and weeks, you've got Brook and Khan. There was speculation, but they came out with statements and went, yeah, we're retired. Fury is yet to do that. We've spoke about this a little bit in terms of why he might be doing that. It's, for me personally, I think it's just added to the whole. He knows he's not going to retire in his heart. He knows he's 2 or 3 super fights away, potentially some of the biggest fights in boxing history away from absolute glory.
Absolutely, man.
I don't think he's going to retire. I think it's a smart marketing move, PR stunt to be able to double his wages. Maybe he's even treble his wages in his next fight.
Dude, it's a game of cat and mouse, I think, at the moment with Fury, and he's got them by the balls, is so to say. And,
absolutely, man.
And the WBC is basically saying, well, look, we'll give you a little bit time, and I don't know if Fury's been away on holiday with his family, and I don't know, I think his dad's
still
been
away
there
at the moment.
Dad's been there, so they're having the time of their life, and rightly so, because he's had some bloody tough fights, and this is quality time.
Yeah.
He's got with his family, and you can't blame him, can you really?
No, I think it's a good thing. Like you say, I think there's a number of ways we can look at this. I do think the WBC are probably pressing him on, hey, look, what's going on here? But I think they're being diplomatic in the way they're doing it.
They're trying to tread careful here with it, aren't they, really?
Well, he holds the power, doesn't he?
He's the man in the picture, yes, and absolutely. And
I genuinely think the WBC are quite happy with him being in the picture, to be fair. I think they're looking at him and going, you know what? Quite a model citizen. His story's fantastic. Do we want him at the top of the chain for a little bit longer? Hey, I think everyone's a winner, aren't they? Everyone's a winner.
They haven't, you know, there's no hold with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's his own man, you know that, we all know that. But he's also got a fantastic brain on him. We spoke about that before, and he can.
It's a business decision.
It's a business decision, and it could be worth millions, really, if he gets it right.
Hundreds of millions. So
he's playing the game the way he wants to play it at the moment, but it's leaving people in the, you know, what's happening. It's creating interest already, isn't it?
It's good to keep people guessing, though, when you're at the top of your career.
Of course it is.
It's the thing that needs to happen. Look, we're talking about it right now. So it's creating interest regardless of what we say. Is he retiring? Is he not? One thing's for sure, people will be able to gauge how much interest's in the fight. The man's just hinted at retirement, and everyone's went crazy going, no, you can't do this. You've still got to fight AJ. Yeah. You've still got to potentially fight Usyk. And then if you really want to cement your decision in history, maybe it's 1 or 2 more fights in the younger lads coming up.
Dude,
you know,
and I'll stick my neck out when I say this, and I'm saying it, I'm going to say it. I'm not ruling out a 4th fight with Wilder. With Deontay Wilder, mind. I am not ruling that fight out, because honestly, that could come off.
You know something? I've thought about this myself, and as crazy as it seems, You're right. You can't write out. If he stays around, it would be his choice completely. But if he beats these two guys, Deontay Wilder's still on the scene. And Fury still doesn't have all of the belts. Now, if he whoops these two lads' asses and gets all of the belts, right? It is Deontay Wilder deserving of a shot at undisputed.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Because he never gave a bad account of himself in any of the fights. Okay, bar the second fight, you can say, I don't know, there was something wrong with him. We don't know. He got beat.
And it wasn't even a bad account still, was it, by all accounts?
But the man, you could not turn around and say with all your heart that if they had a fourth fight, would you write him off?
Well, this is what we were talking about the other night, actually. Me and my dad, we are not just boxing fans. We get emotionally attached when we're in the fight game, when we're watching the fights, because we've experienced it ourselves, all right? When we watch these fights happen, we get nervous. And me and my dad were... To say we were scared for Tyson Fury in every one of the fights against Deontay Wilder was an understatement.
Well, I was. You weren't. You said to me you weren't.
I was confident that he was going to win. But I tell you something, and I think he beat him 100 times out of 100. But I still fear him getting knocked out off Deontay Wilder every single time.
Listen, in that man's heart right now, Deontay Wilder. Now, if he gets a chance to... I don't know whatever Fury does. We still don't know. We're going back over old news. We still don't know. But it's interesting. It's
more than interesting, Dad. It's exciting as hell, man. I wouldn't want to see him fight Deontay Wilder for the sake of him potentially getting knocked out. But you wouldn't be disappointed with whatever they bring, because they're going to bring it time and time again. And I don't know, man. I still think Deontay Wilder, in his heart, wants to annihilate Tyson Fury.
Deontay Wilder, deep down in his soul, he's not sleeping at night because all he wants to do is beat him and beat him once. He wants to beat him convincingly once.
Yeah.
That man will do whatever it takes to get back into that arena with him. And there's one thing Wilder is... He's not afraid, mind. He's got some...
The last fight proved that. He's a monster.
He's a tough... And honestly, I think he wants him. Listen, a fourth fight could come off, man. I'm telling you.
Now, who'd have thought we'd go down that road? We're talking about the WBC giving him support. Here's one thing. Would Tyson Fury want that fight? How many other how many other fights out there have had 4 fights? I personally don't know any.
Fury's that crazy. He'll say, yeah, come on, but he's good as well. He's look, when you beat somebody 3 times, which he did, the first fight with a draw wasn't really it, but nevertheless, say 2 out of 3 ain't bad. 2 wins and a draw.
It's a Meatloaf song, wasn't it?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Rest in peace, mate. Yeah.
Rest in. So this interest from this retirement thing with Fury is opened a circle of wonder, and in all the boxing world, and
Do you not think it puts pressure on your AJs and Actually, there's only AJ left to put pressure on. He's the last man out of all of them who everyone's wanted to see him fight for a long time. I still don't think Anthony Joshua, and I'll say this out here, I credit to him for what he's done for Britain, for boxing, for everything. Masterful man, all right? Model citizen in many cases, all right? But I still don't think he wants to fight Fury. In his heart of hearts, I don't think the man wants anything to do with Fury whatsoever.
I used to think that, but I think now, because you've got to understand the situation that Joshua is in at this moment in time, and believe it or not, there isn't really much for him to worry about, is it? Is there really? He's got to fight. The heat's off him. The heat's off him.
I think this puts him. It puts more in.
Do you think he's going to get beat off Usyk again? This is just another. It's another.
I don't know if it's a tool to give him, a little bit more status. If he wins the titles back, he'll be, a heavyweight champion again. I really don't know. But one thing's for sure, He's getting beat off a smaller Usyk. He's doing nothing with 6'9" Fury. I never think he's going to do anything with Fury, and it's what I believe in my heart. I don't think he's got what it takes to beat Fury ever. If Deontay Wilder, one of the most dangerous, horrible beasts on the planet, punching wise, couldn't do nothing with Fury. And I've never seen such a relentless man in that ring against Fury. You saw one of the best versions, if not the best version of Wilder ever in them fights with him. And Joshua doesn't come close to Wilder as far as I'm concerned. I think Wilder knocks Joshua out in 1 or 2 rounds.
It's not to say that Joshua cannot beat Usyk and fight Fury if he doesn't retire, or Fury might say, look, Deontay, you can fight him.
Well, look at the strategy.
I fought him 3 times. You have a go, mate.
When AJ lost to Ruiz the first time, I've got my own thoughts on that. I don't know if we'll talk about that in 6 months' time or so. You know what my thoughts are on that. I'm not going to mention it here. But in the rematch against Ruiz, he had to change how he boxed. He turned almost, the old ABA style of boxing, the English style of boxing.
Did Eddie Hearn pay Andy Ruiz to go out and have a drink in pizza binge before this fight?
There's one thing for sure, right? He boxed him completely differently. He had to box him, but
he didn't get a look in. But
is AJ
capable of doing?
He can't make the same changes to beat Usyk. You're not going to outbox Usyk.
No, because he's coming at you.
He's
counter-punching you with rapid shots.
So what's he going to do? I think he's got to revert back to the old menacing style of fighting to be able to beat Usyk. And I still don't think he's going to beat the better boxer. A better fighter isn't beating a better boxer. And I'm a man who used to like to fight. I'm just being truthful. The better boxer seems to be... Look, Mike Tyson, in my opinion, greatest fighter's ever lived. The better boxer beats him. Tell me, the Evander Holyfield, man, he frustrated the hell out of Tyson. That's why he bit his ear off. Yeah, he cut him, he headbutts and stuff like that. But there's one thing for sure, masterful boxer, Holyfield. And Tyson Fury, Mike Tyson couldn't do nothing about it.
Well, when you've got no cards left to play sometimes in the fight, things can get dirty, things can get really rough.
You've run out of moves, mate, and boxing's a game of chess. And Mike Tyson had no more moves left, so he had to cheat to beat him. I mean, that's what you had to do.
I don't know. People going off the subject again, because we do in our podcast, we do occasionally go. A lot of people don't realise Evander Holyfield had a fantastic amateur record, and it consisted of all knockout. He was a knockout power punching lad. He wasn't just
he was a box fighter.
Score on points type of guy. He could really bang you right out of there.
Here we go. I'm going to throw this out here, and it's not as if it isn't out on other podcasts either. Was Evander Holyfield using steroids?
Many of the heavyweights today and of yesterday, they've all used some kind of supplements.
Interesting topic. Interesting topic.
It's in all sports, man.
It was classed as the glory era of boxing, wasn't it? The golden era, right? Yeah. Now, if you have a look at the size of the golden era of heavyweight boxing, man, you had some blokes who were in phenomenal shape at 18, 19, 20 stone. You don't see that now.
In the late 60s and early 70s through the 70s, you had lesser fighters, right? Fighters inside the top 10 and good fighters as well, but they looked like fucking Hercules.
Well, you don't look like that at that weight though, do you?
No, and they were widespread then in them days, and possibly still are now, but maybe they're a little bit, you can hide them a little bit better in these days.
I think
going off the subject, but let's take all that out of the equation and just look at exactly where we stand at the moment. We've got to leave Tyson Fury out the picture for a short while to enjoy his life, because he damn well deserves it. I'm more,
but not too long though. I think he needs to get in there again. He definitely needs to have a fight this year.
Yes,
it needs to happen this year.
We'll draw a little line under that until things.
I'm happy to move on to the next thing. Actually, Eddie Hearn on Canelo. Has his confidence gone? That's what Eddie Hearn reckons. We touched on that the other night about Canelo. Has he bitten off more than he can chew, for want of a better phrase? I think he's in reference to him having a potential rematch with Bivol, right? Now, Canelo, phenomenal fighter.
Look,
very, very strong at his weight. He's one of these fighters, though, Dad. I don't think he carries his punching power through the weights, like, for instance, David Haye. David Haye, cruiserweight, heavyweight, he carried that venom.
You're talking about Bivol.
No, I'm talking about Canelo carrying that power.
Right. Canelo stops right there at that weight he's just went to fight at. He's proven no good. It's a no-go area for him. Look, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts as of recent. The likes of Teddy Atlas, and well, we all know Teddy Atlas. He's a boxing. He's not just a boxing expert. He's a scientific. Oh God, he's great, Teddy Atlas.
His philosophy on boxing is brilliant.
He analyses fights in depth, and even Teddy he explains it. He says, look. And people have still got to try and remain inside the boxing circle, like civil and choose the words correctly. But they all point, and the vast majority of them point to the same as what I said earlier on. They all said, look, he went in and he was found out. He was found out, and Bivol was far better than he ever anticipated, mind.
So in terms of Eddie Hearn on Canelo, has his confidence gone? I think if there ever was a fight and a time in his boxing career for his confidence to be shot, I would definitely say it's this